Sean, I guess the off season is officially over. Um, Welcome
It was
everybody.
fun.
Yeah.
A
Make
week and a
City Make
half there.
Spence. Yeah. Make City Make Spence. I am Adam Hernandez, with me, Sean Spence. Sean, I guess technically it is over. I mean, we had women's indoor kind of creep up on us. I
Yeah.
mean, it does seem like I think it started earlier this year. I don't remember it starting in early December last year,
Well,
but
we had this match on Saturday, and then we don't have
mhm,
a match until for like 3 weeks.
yeah. So
So yeah, it started really early, but the meat of the schedule is the same. I guess we just kind of had a really early outlier here, and our women were clearly ready to go. Now there was no stream or anything like there wasn't even really you couldn't even really watch it. They weren't live tweeting it. So
yeah. So final score: Detroit City FC took on the Youngstown Nighthawks in the opener of the MASLW season, which has been a mainstay for the Detroit City FC women's side for this is what their third season now, playing under the Detroit City FC, behind that crest. I know a lot of the of the women. I don't know so much anymore on this particular team because you and I were kind of talking about seemingly some of the new faces that are that have comprised this current team right now. But I know
right.
that a lot of them have played on other teams. I know, and this was kind of a production on their own to kind of convince the team, the club, to get this indoor side going, and it's been wildly successful. It seems like on
Oh
the
yeah.
pitch and off, which is great to see. It is really really cool to see that. Just because I mean, even the games too. I mean, it's very well supported. Again, which is awesome to see. But it seems like, for everything that is, potentially gone wrong or has gone wrong with Detroit City FC, the one thing that has it seems to have gone right is the women's side of things, and especially the indoor game, Sean. And they are picking up right where they've left off before. Um, just hammering opponents in the regular season, and the opener was no different. They just absolutely
Did we ever say the
crushed.
score? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 17-2.
17
17
to
to
2. Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Um, and
You
I
know,
know it may be kind of hard to cover, Sean, from a visual standpoint, just because, like you mentioned, it wasn't streamed at all, and it wasn't, um, there's like no live tweeting or anything of that sort. But we were kind of going over some of these goals on the MASLW website and the times, and it's just incredible, just how dominating Detroit City FC was in this game.
yeah. The 17 to 2, it looks like it was, I mean, it was 11 nil at halftime. Um, and we really, eased off the gas. It seems like at the end, like we were, let's see, I think we were up, it looks like we were up 15 nil at one point. And then,
Hmm. And
the
then,
last the
yep.
last few minutes were finished 2-2 in a 2-2 draw. But two women had hat tricks. Hannah Crum, who of course is incredible, the Black Arrow winner, and is great on indoor. The other thing that and the other hat trick was I just said it to you,
Yeah.
Katie Coleman. Katie
Katie Coleman,
Coleman.
yes.
It looks to me like what's going on is we are seeing a further divergence between the indoor and outdoor rosters, because you got some names on here that have been rostered for the outdoor team. Hannah Crum, obviously, Kayla Addison, Amanda Britton, Katie Coleman has played outdoors. Ella has, but then there's others in here who kind of haven't really done a lot outdoors. Zoe Greenhalgh has been good now for a couple seasons playing indoor. Anya Dow is somebody they brought in last year, if I remember right. She got a couple goals. Megan Varant is someone new. But these are, professional women who are in their career and are also still, balling out for Detroit City, but they're not college players. They're not youth prospects. They're full grown adult women, and Danny's clearly got Danny's clearly kind of cooking here.
Yeah.
She's got an idea how she wants to play, and um, the indoor game is such that you can really if you can build a good, stable, large squad because of the way the substitution rules are sort of like basketball. Um, you can really keep everybody fresh, keep everybody firing in a way that you just can't, in the outdoor game where you've got, the other thing is that it uh, it's a much more democratized version of football than the outdoor game. The outdoor game really um, prioritizes people with size who can move quickly. And while we can talk about how football has found niches for people that are of all different body shapes, I think you can see across football that increasingly as we systematize it and uh, the teams that make themselves hard to play against tend to have uh, players with a certain body shape. They have long guys who can run fast, long women who can run fast. Indoor is different. You don't have to cover. There's not nearly the same amount of ground to cover, and the open substitutions means you don't have to have three lungs to stay in the thing.
Hmm.
So it opens a lot of space for technicians and people who can do, amazing things with the ball, but who can't, just pelt up and down a pitch for, even 60 minutes, and do a credible job defensively. And all credit to Danny for sort of sussing that out. And her there's a lot of tweeners in the roster, a lot of you know people who women who maybe aren't quite are a little physical and a little technical but not outstandingly either, and then there's some women that are absolute fucking wizards, and I'm talking about Hannah Crum, um, on the ball, just able to surprise you. She's somebody who makes me kind of like laugh out loud when I watch her play. Like, oh my God, that was great. Oh, that was amazing. And I'm a crusty old dude. Like, I'm not you know, easily like moved to exclaim in that way. So she's pretty extraordinary. She's worth the money, is what I'm saying. Mackenzie Ruber is an interesting name that popped up. She had two of the first three goals, and she is somebody who I remember being recruited um, into the outdoor program, but again, I think maybe lacked some of the like over the top athleticism that really dominates the outdoor game.
Sure.
And here, has a little more, um, is a little less overwhelming. So obviously Youngstown. I think this maybe was their first match in the league, and it's going to get better. Youngstown, like not everybody's going to come there and just like pin you down and tear your entrails out for 3 quarters, and then go like sorry and let you up. Oh, like our women did. Notes that things I want to note, and I just don't understand. And we talked about this briefly earlier, but somehow in the seventh goal and the eighth goal for Detroit City came 2 seconds apart, according to this.
I
So
don't know if that's possible, but
so it's like they kicked off. gave it to Katie Coleman and she scored on that touch. Like the only thing I could think.
I'm just
Like,
wondering if it was like that Dario goal from a couple of seasons ago where he caught the keeper out of position and he like struck it in like midfield.
right.
Um I don't that's the only way I could kind of think of how
Well,
this
because like,
happened.
okay, so the clock stops in indoor. So we
Yes.
score at seven. It's Ella scores her only goal of the match. Um, Ella Karolak, for people who don't know, is an incredible center back, or sometimes outside back, a really great defender for the outside for the outdoor team. I'd never seen her play indoors, but she's starting. Now I think she's living in town now and working in town. So no, no, it's cool to see her in there. But she gets the goal at 7:58, and then at 7:56, 2 seconds later, Katie Coleman scores. So it's like, so they had to touch the ball in there. Like they kicked off, and like, when they kick off, it begins. I just don't know how many touches you could possibly get in there. Like it's pretty much you passed it backwards. What you tried to, I'm trying to imagine the scenario. Like the woman on the center circle thinks there's somebody behind her and just sort of back heels it to no one. And Katie's like fire in her eyes, like takes 2 steps and finishes it or something, while the Youngstown players are all shrieking at each other, like, yeah, you know. But yeah, like that couldn't have been very fun.
Yeah, yeah, it's a tough opening matchup for Youngstown going up against um what very well could be the best team in MASLW this season. I mean, Detroit City has been, they were, what did they lose in the finals last year
Lost in the
to,
finals to the pro team.
yeah, to the pro team, yeah, Chihuahua, who isn't in the MASLW this year. So,
Yeah.
it could be Detroit City FC's for the taking this year. Um, I do want to talk about something real quick with the league, but first, um, I do know that everybody was kind of wondering where the roster announcement was for indoor, and I did contact the club and to see where that was, and they said that it was going to it was possible that it was going to be released. I can't remember the exact wording they gave. It was possible that it was going to be released before the first game, but not guaranteed. And obviously, it wasn't released. And they
Right.
mentioned wanting to have a finalized roster. Now, I don't know if you go to, because if you go to the Detroit City FC website now, and if you go to the MASLW website now, there are rosters listed for Detroit City FC. Now, I don't know if those are now the finalized rosters or not. I don't know what you think, Sean, if it's maybe harder to get, commitments to this team, given,
Um,
that it's
I have a
indoor and
feeling. I have a feeling they're not having a hard time. I mean, I don't think Danny is having a hard time getting women to commit.
yeah.
I just think it's probably more that the league is a little bit loosey goosey about that kind of
Hmm.
stuff, and so at some level the media team is like, well, if we release a bunch of players, all that's going to happen is in a week they're going to add like three more players, and then everyone's going to go, well, what about these? And there's no way to do a clean roster announcement where like, okay, this is all the women who are going to play for us, because it's just that this league is run a little bit on the shiftier end of things, typically,
And
it
that's kind
seems
of
to
how it
me.
was with the women's outdoor team too, Sean. I mean,
Right.
there was like a ton of women's players. Some of them we saw, some of them we saw more often than not, and some
Yeah.
of them we never saw at all throughout the season, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, the outdoor, it might be the same thing with this.
yeah.
But, the outdoor roster would, in the preseason, would balloon, you know, to 40 players or something. It was just, you know, an outrageous number of women kind of fighting for position. And then, what would happen is there be kind of a silent winnowing, like they wouldn't officially say, okay, here's it seems at least to my knowledge, they wouldn't say, okay, like here's who's out. They would say, here's who's in for this, here's
Hmm.
who's getting rostered for this game, and kind of leave it up to the players whether they wanted to like keep coming to practice if they're not getting any minutes. And so it's awkward. Do you pump up all these players? And like that's the other thing is, I think a lot of times you go into these seasons, there's no hierarchy set really. There's no, every team, especially like the women this year, they're going to be kind of starting from scratch in terms of, I guess maybe Ella is probably going to be the captain. I mean, Gabby's not there, and she's always been the captain, right?
Hmm.
So they're going to have to organize around someone else. They're going to have other leaders, and I think they have them in the roster, but getting those things to coalesce is always, tricky. Um, and so what you wind up doing, like if you're running the team, the media people are like, look, we need to focus on some people, and you're like, well, I don't really want to focus on people yet because I don't really know who's going to show up. You know,
Hmm.
I don't well, like imagine like we were really glad that Lily decided to come back last year, and she played like a half for us.
Yeah, and that
Uh,
was it.
and so, what if we build a big media thing around Lily? You know, well,
Hmm.
you can't, right? And pretty much that's the situation with almost every player, unless there's somebody who's coming back, and so you're left with on the outdoor side, you're going to build things around players that are going to be around. So Addie, um,
Yep.
Addison,
Anachrom.
Hannah Crum,
Yep.
probably Ella at this point.
Hmm.
And that's you're going to be seeing those women, wearing the kits and doing that stuff, and not the hot shit college kids or the hot shit national level youth prospects that come in,
Sure.
because their commitment to the whole project is less.
And they're
So
beholden to college coaches or,
right,
these
yeah, they've got
youth
a lot of
national
different
teams and stuff.
priorities. Although those things are constantly shifting. It's
Yeah.
much different now than it was even 10 years ago.
Um, my one concern with this, if again, I'm kind of being a jerk with this just because you look at it and you're like, oh, 17-2, what concern could you possibly have? Don't be an asshole, Adam. Um, the only thing that I am concerned about, and I'm wondering if this played a role last year. First, Danny has done a phenomenal job as far
Oh, yeah.
as coaching this team, and just because when they first started 3 years ago, um, it was something that was new. I mean, it wasn't something that, oh, Detroit CFC has always been this indoor powerhouse. That has never been the case, and they picked up on it really, really quick.
Yeah.
Danny picked up on it really, really quick. And they were right there that first season. I can't remember how far they went, but they made it to playoffs. And they had a really, really good season that year. Obviously, last year they went to the finals in their second season in indoor. That first season too was I mean, if anybody thought that, MASLW was um, just kind of a loosey goosey type of league. What was the other
Oh,
one? The
dude.
PASL, the PASL, I think that's what it was, or
Yeah.
something like that. Was like, if you thought MPSL was bad, then hey, let me show you that first year of indoor that Detroit City was in. But I guess my only concern is the competition level right now. Um, because I don't know if Detroit got kind of shell shocked last year, where they were just kind of, just steamrolling some of these teams in their division.
Mm.
And, then they make it to the national level and, they run into, that powerhouse in Chihuahua, who was obviously not around anymore. But That was I thought I mentioned something like that to Garrett. I can't remember if I said that to him in a private conversation or if we said it on, a podcast.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I just one thing that I hope this year, I hope the competition level is a little bit more elevated. I don't think it will be, but I do hope it is a little bit more elevated just to provide a little bit more of a test for Detroit City FC moving forward this season and just to prepare themselves, better for, the playoffs when they will be facing off against better teams. Like I said, I hope it's a more competitive um, conference or division for them moving forward. And that's it. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say. That's my only thing right now when it comes to Detroit City FC indoor. And yes, I'm an asshole for saying that.
Well, I do think that if from Danny's point of view and from the women's point of view, like they can't really worry about that too much. Like they just have to
Yeah.
go out there and do their best. Yeah, sure.
It's not
Um,
something they can control. I understand
if
that.
we played a couple other teams who had the ability to keep the ball against us, the way Chihuahua did, um, I think that would have prepared us better. But also, like, we didn't have like we didn't have Gabby in goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Against Chihuahua.
Yep.
Like that was a big deal. Our start when your starting keeper who's played every minute, like can't play in the national semifinals and the national final, like um that is a major
It's a blow.
blow.
It's a blow. Yeah.
And they got a couple early goals that kind of they kind of shook the backup up, I think, a little bit, and that was all it took, really. Um, and at the same time, like they were deserving winners. And Chihuahua were very good, and if they were coming back, um, that would be they would be the focus of every like practice session. It was like we got to you got to get better. Like Chihuahua's out there, really, like you got to get good enough to beat them. Like and so, yeah, I do worry a little bit that it's going to lessen the possibility of City hitting the the absolute heights that they could. Although relatively, it may not make much of a difference. Um,
Right.
we'll see. Like hopefully, uh, some of these programs have gotten their act together. The thing that City are once again leaders in this area, the same way they were leaders in the men's outdoor space, a decade ago, um, is showing that you can successfully have a party at these games.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like how do you sell it? Well, you make it really fucking fun to be there,
Yeah.
and there you go. That's
Yeah.
the
That's
that's the story. And
yeah.
they've
And
done it. They've done it. Like I mean, those tickets are hard to get.
oh
For
yeah,
the
absolutely.
for our home like if you haven't got your tickets to a home match, you it might be too late right now.
Yeah. 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 It is. And if you haven't been out to a women's indoor match, yeah, do your best to get out to one because at least one because it's a really, really good time. And it's something completely different
Yeah.
from
I think
going
it
to
kind
keyword.
of I would say that in that space where there's not the vibe can get into the old weird places a little more easily. If you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's it's a lot more laid back. Like I don't know, like outdoor soccer, outdoor football, like especially when it comes to Detroit City, it seems like much more of a grind. And um I don't want to say it's more intense because well, I don't know. I just think it's more chill. It's more laid back. Um and you can go, unlike, going to the men's game, sometimes you can go see a lot of goals scored at these women indoor matches.
Yeah,
So
that is a notable difference.
yeah,
Is you're not going to see a scoreless draw.
no, you will not. And then they've got so let's see, they've got FC Berlin coming up in December 27th, and that's a road game. And their home opener will also be against FC Berlin on January 3rd at
Where's
7:30 p.m.
okay.
At the Detroit City Fieldhouse / Clubhouse. Um, so yeah, get out there, have fun, take it all in, and support the women's indoor team.
Oh, from FC
Um,
Berlin from Kitchener, Ontario.
yeah, not from Berlin, Germany. This league doesn't have that kind of reach.
It's like that is an interesting decision. Like we are going to go play in an indoor league in the Midwest in the United States.
So I thought we were gonna have an away day in Mexico because I think there is still one Mexico team. I want to say like maybe from Monterrey or something like that. So you imagine that a Mexico away day maybe at some point down the road. Um,
I think, yeah, that needs to happen. My goodness.
oh man.
Okay.
Um,
I'm sorry, I'm looking at city schedule. Disappointed we're not playing Suseball Verlin or whatever that is. What is that? Anyway,
um, you want to move on to the men's side because there was some player news.
we do have
This,
uh we do have some player news,
yeah, we
sure.
do have quite a
Yeah.
bit. Um, we'll start off with the good, and it was finally announced officially that Ates Diop um, is coming back to the club,
Yep.
and he is signed through 2027. Uh, Obviously, played a huge role last year for the team. Was kind of that was that offensive spark on many occasions
Yeah.
last year. And if it wasn't for him, this is probably a Detroit City FC men's side that isn't going to the playoffs. He certainly contributed to that. And
Yeah, absolutely.
we also mentioned too, Sean, throughout the season, and as things were kind of winding down, how vital it is to do whatever you possibly could to try to get him back in the fold because we saw a player that was similar to his in 2024 in Lauren Kisiadu, who was again at Detroit City on loan.
Right.
Um, was very much a spark plug for them. And unfortunately, his loan was over and he went back to his professional club in, I think, the Czech Republic.
Right.
Um, and that was that with him. But not the case with Ates Diop. Ates Diop is coming back this season. In fact, he signed through 2027. And what was that transfer fee that they did announce, Sean?
They
But you mentioned the last show that was it
what I
80,000,
heard was 80,000. And
which is incredible.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, um I'm a little surprised that they are so sanguine about getting rid of him because I thought he was you know, he's he puts in good work when he's not electric, and he is often electric. And
Hmm.
um that's a hard combination to find. He doesn't, Saul can stop working when it's not happening. And it's not going to happen a lot for a lot of people. That's how it is. Um, the other thing about the deal is he's signed through. It's a 2+1, meaning their club has an option for the third year.
Okay.
So they've got a lot. They've locked up the uh, him for quite a while and are placing a serious bet on him continuing to improve. And I think that's a smart bet. Um, you know, the goal production in the latter half of the season was largely Ates and set pieces. Um,
Hmm.
Darren, got like carried us early and really didn't score much after July. Um, and Jesse L was the starter a lot of the time on the opposite side, and he he's had a lot of minutes for the numbers he put up. His per minute numbers are not great. So Ates is the guy that we're hoping will carry our attack largely. Um, it concerns me. Darren is not the kind of forward that you would pair him with if you're trying to get the most out of him.
Hmm.
He's not a link up guy. He's not a guy who drops and uh, there's two kinds of players in that position that would dovetail really nicely with a goal scoring winger. Um, and he's neither of them. He's not like a tricky false nine, Bobby Firmino type, and he's not an old school back to the goal target man who can, settle the ball down and bring others into the play. Um, so, to me that's where I'd be looking. Um, if for the striker stuff, I haven't heard any names on strikers, really. And I don't think we should expect to. I have a feeling this is more like a kind of position where we're going to look at guys in camp. There's going to be trials. You're looking at MLS next guys, um, that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, no, go ahead.
Uh, do we have any out? Are we just going to do the ends first? Um,
Um, who was our other in? Did we announce who was our other ins?
I don't think they've announced anybody else.
No, I don't think they have either. Which is yeah, which I was done with the ins with this,
Yeah.
in that sense.
Well, like, yeah, the actual the ends that are spoken for are yeah, just Ates. Um, we're talking to Kobe. We're talking to Jesse L.
Yeah,
Um, is there anybody else that we're still just talking to? We've already signed Connor. So Connor, is a different look. He's a potential, you know, different look striker as a kind of, that's all the rage now, right? You
sure.
Nickel Marino. he's he's a scrappy defensive midfielder type, who also is a scrappy defensive forward type who maybe could also kind of do a job there. I mean, that'd be interesting to see. Um, but I think we're more likely to get a succession of younger dudes. To my that seems like the logical thing to do. That may not be what we do because we don't know who's running this, and there's a very strong possibility that we've got non-football people, meaning Sean.
Making these decisions right now.
Right, right, and like no shade, but like you wouldn't consider Sean Mann to be a football person in this setting. When you're talking about being like a technical director, making deals, like, okay, or really any of the guys, like they're not guys who've made their career in football.
And
Um,
apparently they have I believe they were talking about at the was it the season ticket holder party or something that they had the other night. A lot of exciting signings or something like that. I mean, I
that's
don't
what I'm talking about. Is like,
yeah.
we've seen
Who's
this kind
making the
of
signings?
well, who's making the signings, and like we've seen this kind of thing before. People of great accomplishment who are not people who you know once turned out for the uh Devonshire under 18s to when they got destroyed, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like if you it
Sure.
like there's a the football people in their mind, there's a clear demarcation between them, football people, and everyone else.
And this is
And
and
when you're not one of them, um, uh, it's like you're dealing with a very clannish group of people with a lot of secret rules that they're not going to explain to you and that you really need to understand in order to get the kind of deal that you think you're getting. You know what I mean? Like, um, it's just possible. Like Todd Bowley at Chelsea is a great example. Like went in there, he's got lots of money, and he clearly had like now that it's been rationalized by people who work in football, Chelsea's plan for, player arbitrage and all that looks a lot less crazy than it did when it was just Bowley just like buying every dude he saw a YouTube
mhm,
compilation of. But that's how you get like that's how you spend like whatever $48 million on Mudryk, who just retired rather than try to keep playing at like 26, like that's the kind of thing. That's the kind of mistake you make when you're not a football person. Because the football, if you were a football person, they'd tell you like his head's not right. He's not. There's no way he's going to be able to be a big star in a big team like that. Like he's mentally not going to make it. They would tell another football person that. But like you come in there with a lot of money and a lot of like a positivity, and they're just going to be like, yeah, well, let's make a deal.
mhm.
Um, and it's not conscious. Like they're not saying, "Ha, ha, ha, I just fucked this non-football person." It's like they don't. They're just certain topics or transparencies that for some reason football people will share with each other and not even think of when they're talking to you. Um, and and then when you talk to them about it, they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, okay." Like a lot of times they're genuinely alarmed that they've just kind of switched that off, but that is the way that it works. Um, so that worries me a little bit.
Well, it worries me too, just because I'm worried from the standpoint that I if I'm, that footballing person, and I'm talking about a sporting director, or if I'm a head coach, because they haven't even announced a head coach yet, even though, the speculation is that it's going to be Danny again. Um, I If you are a sporting director or a head coach and you see these decisions being made prior to you getting there, because one of
Yeah,
the um one of
that's
the
the thing that tells
more
me they're not really looking. Because if
yeah,
you're really looking, like you're tying his hands, like you're making decisions that
exactly.
he's not gonna be able to undo, or she, and like and letting him know that that this is how it really is. We're gonna put our oar in here. We're not afraid
Because if
to.
you're, yeah, because if you're a sporting director, especially a sporting director, your job is going to be tied to the players that are on that roster. And if you are unable to choose those players, you're still going to be held, you know, to some type of responsibility for those players, even if you didn't choose them. That's just the way that sports goes sometimes. Um,
Well, especially
and
if you establish that our sporting director position is sort of a crumple zone
yeah,
for the manager. Excuse me. God damn it. I thought I could not start coughing. They're like, oh, I'll be fine. No, I
no,
wasn't
you're
fine.
good. But yeah, I mean, this is like you said, it handcuffs any potential sporting director that they're going to bring in, and it makes this job less attractive to any prospective sporting directors or head coaches, for that matter, that are currently out there looking to get a job someplace. Um, and I don't know, yeah, you at this point right now, given that these moves that they're making, it is a little hard to believe that they're really seriously looking for a sporting director, especially because they got to get a head coach. I mean, it's not like Sean or Alex or Todd or anybody like that are going to be coaching the team, but
Yeah.
it definitely
I,
doesn't seem
I would be
like there's
fine if they would just announce, like, say, okay, you know, it's Dave taking everyone's suggestions. He's the interim right now.
yeah,
Um, and he's consulting with Danny, who is still in town.
yeah.
You can draw your own conclusions, I guess. Um, like, I, you know, I
No,
don't
I
expect it. I don't expect any of this to get resolved in any. Like, okay, so the way they're talking, it makes me think that are they upping payroll a bit? Is that a thing that's happening? Because Ates wasn't cheap. I guarantee
no,
you. I can tell you that Kobe's not like looking for a pay cut.
nope.
Um, the they've still got to get us. They've only got two center backs.
Hmm.
They need another defender. Um, is like so. I would say maybe like with Reese and Haruki, you're probably good on the right. Um, Connor is up among the guys up top, but not a starter. Ben, when's Ben going to be back?
Who
Uh,
knows?
who
Yeah.
knows? Um, and so we if Kobe comes back and Jesse L comes back, then you need a central midfielder. Oh, and they're talking to Ryan Williams,
Yeah,
but
that was the other one they're talking to. Yep.
that's the that's where it's like, I hope we are. I
And
hope
at this
we're
point
not.
too, you're
I
just
hope we're not counting on Ryan starting 30 times again next year. You know what I
well
mean?
again too at
Like,
this point too, Sean, you're just talking about bringing the band back together from
right,
last year.
right.
And
Like, okay. Um, the so here's the names that I've heard that we're talking to. I'm going to give you the first one is the less uh like it's going to be less of a big deal. Who I'm hearing that we're probably going to sign Aiden Stanley.
from Indy
Um,
11, right?
from Indy 11, left back.
Okay.
Good young left back. Now he is coming off of ACL. He did his knee like a month before Ben did his. So he'll be a little bit ahead of Ben. Um, I think a 9 month timeline for him would put him back in the middle of February, where it's going to put Ben back in the middle of March. Um, so if he's on track, if Aiden Stanley's on track and on a normal recovery timeline, he'll be ready to start really working out just as preseason begins. And while he's not going to be 90 minutes fit, when the season begins, he'll be able to attend preseason and bed in with the team and all that stuff. So that is kind of answers the question about who's gonna play left back. Aiden Stanley apparently. Now I don't think the deal's done, but I think it's close, is what I heard. And there's another guy, another more familiar dude that I'm hearing. Rhode Island wants to move Maxi.
Oh no. I
Uh,
didn't actually think you were gonna announce this one.
I, I just, I think that,
No, I don't have
yeah,
any. I know that. Yeah,
I just think it's an interesting,
yeah, no,
like,
definitely.
okay. And, I do think that, it's possible that Kobe and Maxi, uh, would be a pretty interesting two-man midfield. Um, because they have slightly different. instincts about where to move, and I think those instincts might mesh really well. Kobe tends to like step back into the left as his first move. Maxi's more of an up to the right guy. Like they kind of just automatically form a little pair, possibly. Although it could be that they're both, ball dominant, you know, like thinkers who will hate playing with another one like themselves. Like sometimes that happens. So, you know,
What
um,
what is the I mean, it may be kind of a dumb question, Sean, but what is the reason as to why Rhode Island would want to move Maxi at this point? Obviously, he wasn't a starter for them. He didn't turn out to be a starter,
yeah, I think,
especially as the season went on.
yeah, he was a starter, I think, for about the first half of the season pretty
Yeah.
routinely. And then really down the stretch just got like, he was getting like, a 5 minute sub appearance. Like he was one of the guys being subbed on to like waste time at the end of a close match.
Hmm.
Um, and you know, I think that um, Rhode Island are, you know, they were not quite. They were hoping to get the Maxi, like a repeat of Maxi's last 2 years with Detroit City. And what they got was, a dude who was a year older than the last time he did that stuff.
Yeah.
And he's a little different. Like, at City, he had the unique experience of having the team sort of given over to him. When we were in Nisa, when he came to us in Nisa, like he was so much the best player in the league that it
Hmm.
was it was like it was kind of ridiculous. And to his credit, Trev was just kind of like you do you things, like go go be Maxima Maxi, and you know, and really kind of draped that team across himself in a way that you just don't get to do, like most people ever, and much less as a professional. Like pretty wild. Um, and and because of that, like the once you've established that kind of status within a team, it stays. A
Hmm.
lot of the players are still there. Like as players would come in, they're players who had just been like, like all the Nisa All Stars came in having just been dog walked by a Maxi led Detroit City, and like we're kind of just inculcated into the cult of Maxi. Like, well, okay, like he's the guy. He's our on-field schemer. He's going to figure out a way for this to come together well. Um, and what he's going to need for that is like a lot of the ball and a lot of sort of leeway.
Sure.
uh, and then you go to Rhode Island. You're not in that same situation,
Hmm.
and maybe I'm imagining at some level that kind of uh, position where you're a leader but not in any formal way can be really can get old. So he's probably like glad to go just be a footballer. But with that comes some, like they're like, well, where's all the magic stuff? And he's like, well, my magic, my magic is a very long casting time. I need like 45 touches to get my head around how I'm going to do this, um, and to kind of figure out the rhythm of the game. And
He's a very good system guy, right? I mean,
yeah, he is good in systems, but he's not robotic at all.
mhm.
But I think he's a well-rounded footballer. He takes all the responsibilities of being a footballer seriously. He takes his defensive work seriously. Like the idea that the positioning needs to be on point. He takes that seriously. Um, uh, you know. Maxi's not chill.
Um, no, and if he comes back, I hope, and he's a guy that is always, it seems like, willing to be motivated by podcast criticisms. So
Wow.
hopefully.
I mean, I really, I have seen Maxi perform uh incredibly well
Yeah.
in situations where everyone knew that it was him,
Hmm.
and that's a rare thing to be able to show up and know that everybody's expecting you to do it, and then you're like, "That's right, motherfucker."
I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Yeah.
You're like, you came to the right place because now it's happening. Um,
I
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I just remember some of those early words about shapes, some of those early WNGS episodes that you would do with Dion. Um, and talking about Maxie, and I think I remember one where you guys were on, and from what I can remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, but first Maxi came to us because of COVID and in some European deal falling through for him because of it.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
I think after that, like that year that we had him, like were we like fully prepared to like lose him that off season?
Oh yeah, we assumed.
Because I thought I remember that a couple of those episodes where um I was listening to you and you're like, yeah, it's enjoy while it lasts right now because this guy's probably not going to be here next year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he like we weren't thinking we were going to the USL championship,
Yeah, sure.
Um, and uh, we were that whole roster, we were preparing for them to get cleaned out,
Hmm.
that NISA champion roster. Like if we had stayed in NISA and um, Maxi would have left. I think Matt Lewis would have
Matt
left.
Lewis, yeah, was going to be gone. Yep.
Um, like a lot of those guys would a lot of the guys, our top guys would have left. Um, and yeah, we never would have brought in. I mean, maybe we would have brought in some of the NISA All Stars to be NISA All Stars with us in NISA. Um, but yeah, going to USL Championship meant that well, while we're playing in a league with enough prestige and money to make it worth, I mean, like I think for Maxi, it's like, well, shit, I was gonna have to go figure out how to, I'm gonna shuck and jive to try to get into a USL championship side. And instead, like, this team's just going. Like, all
Yeah,
right, the team where, the last season ended with me, like, hoisting all the trophies and wearing all the, streamers. Like,
yeah,
let's fucking go. Um, and like I I don't, football, like the first sport I covered, like professional, where I covered professionals a lot was baseball.
hmm,
Um, and that really set the tone for me because baseball, like, it's such a daily game that you just can't be great every day. Like, it doesn't matter. Like all these guys who have all these rituals and things they do to try to like get ready for that. But like 162 games, bro, it's just a
yeah,
lot. And really every sport is kind of like that. Like when you've got players who are kind of grinding through a career, like you're just, you know, like you watch Maxi in a single match and he might not be great, he's that's the thing that's frustrating and weird about him is he can be a great player while not being great at a lot of the things that you think of a great player being great at, he's not like he doesn't have like an immaculate first touch or he can't, I mean, he grinds his body and gets himself in peak condition, but he's not one of those three lungers who can just run all day and be fine. Like it's will that keeps him running at that. Um, uh, the he's got really good vision, but he can get caught in the welter of the game, where you can see he's not seeing it, because the game, like the speed of the game, has kind of overcome his ability to rise out of it, and he's down here frantically with everybody else. So but like because of that, it's a much more touchable, human, approachable sort of greatness, like this is the greatness of just like, okay, well, I don't have this or I don't have that, sure, why, whatever, but I'm here, whatever I have, I'm gonna put it out there. Um, and that is still more common um, than you would think in sports, but it's less common than it used to be. And I appreciate that Maxi gives us that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Maxi, I mean, for as much, shit that we gave him, and I think that there were valid, um, I think some of it was valid in what we were saying. Maxi is older. I always thought we got the best Maxi years that we were going to get when he left, which I thought was, I thought that was absolutely true. And the Maxi that, if Rhode Island does deal Maxi and he does come back to Detroit City, um, I don't think we're going to be getting a better Maxi. I don't think that we're going to be getting the best Maxi. Um,
But I think, I think you might be seeing like final kind of the final phase, like a different
oh,
phase,
definitely. Yeah,
like where he's going to be more of a like wise head, in the locker room, a guy who he's one of the guys enforcing standards during
sure.
training. Um, and I don't know, he's a strong personality. I think that
He's, he,
I like having him around, so
I mean,
I'm all
it's going to
for
be, yeah. And he would definitely, he would definitely help that midfield because last season, you certainly, it was certainly very noticeable that Maxi wasn't there, given how the midfield went last year
it. Yeah,
until, Kobe came around. And, I'm thinking about the possibilities now of Kobe and Maxi both being in that midfield for Detroit City next year. Yeah, let's fucking go with that. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
that's,
you're playing that 3-4-3 that we've kind of favored all since like Nisa. Like those two guys are potentially just a absolutely wonderful dynamic duo in the middle there, like destroying, creating, like if they can get on each other's wavelength, like and they're right and left footed, like they're like a pair. It's like
yeah,
like it could be really great.
yeah,
um but a lot of that will come down to like personalities and
sure.
how each of them handles like human pecking order type shit, you know
Chemistry is a very real thing
right,
in association football.
right, yes,
Um, so yeah, I mean that's something obviously that we're all gonna have to keep an eye on, and
yeah,
the storylines that would come out of that if Maxi Rodriguez makes his return back to Detroit City FC, would be incredible. It would
yeah,
be
yeah.
incredible.
I mean, it would be one of those really interesting stories, and I would be really hopeful that it could turn out, in a positive way,
Me too.
because like we say, like Maxi's already given us his best years. Like he gave them
Hmm.
to us. Like he can't get them back. We can't get them back. Like that's those are
Time is
gone. And
undefeated when it comes to
right,
something like that.
exactly. But like he did all that shit wearing the Spirit of Detroit crest,
Mhm.
yeah, we ought to we ought to honor his service.
Yeah. Um, Sean, there were a couple of departures. Well, one, I guess, kind of. They put the
Uh,
policey. departure up on social media. Then they took it down and put Guanzati's up, which we already knew Guanzati was gone because the
Yeah,
Cosmos posted, his return to the club, what, a couple of weeks ago. So I don't know. People were, speculating on whether or not um, they put up the wrong Italian guy at first.
just
It,
confused. Yeah,
it just confused the Italian guys. Um,
yeah. It's like,
which
although
I
one's
guess would
Canadian,
track with Detroit
one's
City FC.
Canadian and one's Uruguayan, but
Yeah.
sure.
I
uh,
t-
yeah, I don't know, man. I when the police one came out, I was like, okay, there we go. Yeah,
yeah.
I heard that was happening, and then they took it down, and I'm like, okay, but it's happening, right? Like, why are you taking it down?
Yeah.
Just
And I posted something right after that too, just be like, oh yeah, Detroit City just announced that Polisi's leaving, and they took theirs down. I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna fucking keep it up. I don't care. He's
man,
so yeah, I mean, yeah, Guanzati's gone. If
dude,
anybody hasn't heard that yet, he is going to be playing for the Cosmos in League One next year. And Sean, right? We could say that Polisi is gone despite the club taking it down.
but I mean, I think the announcement was, I think that it was just out of order, but they had already worked it up, so.
You know,
Um,
what the funny and ironic thing too is, Sean, about Polisi's departure via social media that they made a graphic and everything for. Didn't his arrival also get botched? Didn't they announce his arrival like a few
yes, oh,
weeks before they were
that was the one
supposed
that
to?
came out super early. That we're all like, huh? Like I hadn't even heard that from Trev. Yeah. Like I reach out and he's like, they what? Like, yeah, it's out there. People are like researching who this dude is. And he's like, oh, okay. Well,
It's like, oh, a guy who sat out what, a year in the CPL or something.
yeah, was like an okay player in the CPL and is coming off a catastrophic, like not only an injury, but an injury that he got nearly completely rehabilitated and then catastrophically re-injured and had to rehabilitate again. And we were like, that's our dude.
Yep,
Like,
that's it.
tell me that wasn't some kind of like, quid pro quo for somebody that, you know, like somebody in the front office owed somebody who knows Marcello a solid or something.
Yeah, they
Because
also.
what the fuck? Like, I mean, right away it was like, huh? Like, wait a minute. This, like, to me, if I look at a CPL dude, I'm not looking at a CPL as like I think it's not as good. The quality overall is not as good as the USL Championship, in my
I
view.
would, yeah, yeah, definitely.
So when I see a guy who's been, kind of a starter in the CPL, I'm like already like, okay, well, like, is he young? No, no, he's not young. No, not at all. Okay,
Okay.
well, like, oh, is he healthy? No, not at all. He hasn't been healthy for 2 years. Like, what the fuck?
It's like the if you're building a player that you absolutely
Yeah,
don't want on your team.
right. Like,
Yeah, that's
why? It's like, oh, he's got compromise. Yeah, he's got pictures of, I don't know, something. I don't want to make a joke because like it seems like there are people who listen to this podcast and take it very seriously. And so I don't want to.
yeah,
I'm kind of hesitant to make a joke about,
yeah.
um, people, on a couch after doing too many poppers or whatever. Somebody be like, "What? How does he know?" I don't know. I'm just talking about things people do. You're a person.
Well, yeah, Marcello Polisi, yeah, is gone.
Yeah.
Despite the graphic
Farewell,
that went up that
sir.
was, yeah, abruptly taken down and substituted for Guenzati. The other one that came out as well that was that was anticipated. I remember you anticipating this one as well. Shane Wheat, retiring after 7 seasons in professional football. Um, yeah, Sean, I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of our defensive backs last year. Kind of, we were kind of hoping he was going to be that Matty Lewis
Yeah. Yeah.
replacement that never kind of came about. And
Well, I think, I have a feeling that he's a guy. Now, I'm not saying that he is a victim of Danny's like vindictiveness or anything, but like
mhm,
of that, he's one of those guys. He is not a forceful, like, brutish defender in any way. You know what I
mhm,
mean? He's very kind of, when he's playing well, he's kind of elegant. Um, he's quick for his size. He's got decent touch. He anticipates well. Um, and so he can dominate in the air, and he can also, um, he's alert enough to play well in most situations. Um, but I have a feeling that his personality is not really down for like having every day be another round of gladiatorial combat where you prove that you're man enough to get in that starting 11. I think there's a lot of that vibe happening.
yeah.
So guys can kind of either naturally sit in that space, which, there are some, or who know, like I have a feeling that that's like kind of Michael Bryant kind of like shifts gears into like, like I'm a cop, I'm a hard guy, when he's going into those spaces. um and that's I'm guessing that if we had a slightly more um if we had a coach who had a different sort of approach to sussing out who gets minutes, that Shane might have been a guy who, settled in a little more and made a little more of a difference. As it was, he really, in a lot of his appearances, through, I would say, mid-season, he always looked like really antsy. Like he was incredibly, like he was one of those players who was so anxious about the possibility of making mistakes that it drove him into mistakes. Um, and that's hard to watch.
Yeah, and I mean,
It's like,
that's,
oh, guy, it's okay. Like, just settle down and play. Like, you are talented. Like, just go be talented.
yeah, I was very impressed with him at the beginning of the season. I always wanted to see him get more minutes, but I could definitely see where you're coming from with that, Sean, that it seemed like he was kind of playing uncomfortable at times. Um, it did look like he was afraid to make mistakes. Um, and I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
like you said, you didn't know if it was part of that Danny Dicchio dynamic that was kind of that may have been making its way through the locker room and through training and practice and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, it was exciting though. It was exciting when they brought him on because, like you mentioned, it was there was always that missing piece. It seemed like when Matty Lewis left and retired, and he wasn't replaced in 2025 or 2024. Um, and lo and behold, in 2025, it seemed like we got that piece, and it just seemed like Shane wasn't completely. Um, it didn't seem like he was completely there. His game wasn't completely there last season, which was
yeah,
unfortunate.
yeah. Like I saw him play better with Sacramento. So it's like,
Yeah.
um, and it's hard to say what it was like, whether it was just Michael outcompeted him, and
Hmm.
or whether there were particular mistakes that he was prone to that are kind of, I mean, look, it's there's so many so many possibilities that, like, for some coaches there's a type of mistake that will just always gall them, and they'll like you they'll overreact to, and maybe he's just prone to one of those. Like, I don't know. It's hard to see why he didn't get uh time early, as much time as I thought he should get early on, and then it just seemed like he never settled.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, I hope retirement treats you well, Shane. Of course, we already had Stevie and
Yep.
Matt uh,
Matt Sheldon. Yep.
retire. So that's what, four guys that retired, five. Oh, and Polisi hasn't retired.
Felicia hasn't retired
Oh,
that we know of.
and Guinzotti hasn't retired because we
Gwenzetti
know
is.
he's going to play for the Cosmos, which, like, I hope that we play him next year because wow, like he just does not look physically up to it, you know.
No, he
Uh,
doesn't.
and it's like I don't know. It makes me feel bad. Like I don't want to just hammer the dude and be like, you were getting like completely physically like overwhelmed in the USL Championship to the point that like doing simple things is very difficult now. Like you can't settle the ball and turn and face the guy because if you do anything but like pin him back with your whole body and keep the ball at maximum distance, he's going to take it from you. So you're just like the moment you get the ball, you're just sort of stuck, frozen there, like hoping that you don't get bullied. Like, dude, it's time to do something else, man.
I wonder if that
Oh,
was like one of the like a Cosmos, like, hey, we're gonna bring back one of our, I don't want to say legacy type of guys, but
but
hey,
no,
this is a
totally. Like
guy.
you're trying to build a new legacy. You want a guy like Guinzotti, like he can retire in May and it's still fine. Like he retired to
Yeah.
Cosmo. He came and he did a few more. He'll get a couple of outings, and who knows? Like you know, aging is weird. He might find a half step somewhere in the next 4 months, and be surprising for 6 weeks.
Would it be
And
like City signing Dave Edwardson or something in 2021 to be,
right,
yeah, just go on this run with us through Nisa as we, bring home a championship.
right, exactly. It would have been exactly like, yeah, exactly.
So, not that I don't know if the Cosmos are going to win a championship in League One or not, but
Yeah, I have
yeah, yeah,
I have no idea what to.
I hope we play them too, just for
Yeah,
the sheer enjoyment of playing the Cosmos again, just because I think that's one of the great, really truly untapped rivalries in lower league soccer in the United States. I think that's something that, if US soccer was and USL had any sense whatsoever, that's something that they would promote. But who knows?
yeah,
Maybe we see
yeah,
them in the Open Cup.
yeah. We can see them in the Open Cup. We could certainly. I mean, it seems like we're likely to see them in the League Cup, right? They'll be in that group with us. Like
Yes, in the Jägermeister, yep.
so,
Um, and
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm just calling it the League Cup, the same way I don't call the English one the Carabao Cup. I'm just like it's the League Cup. It's all the professional teams playing each other.
Um, yeah, I. um, yeah, I think that's it though. I think that's all I think it's Sheldon, Steven, um, Shane, and yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Unless
Uh,
there's any, I guess
yeah.
there could be more later on down the road, but
Right.
yeah,
Well, I
well,
mean, if I feel like okay, now if you assume we are signing the guys that were said to be signing, you now have an 11, right?
hmm
Roughly. Um, you could put it at 11. Like uh, and that's when it gets really interesting. Like, how can we take this up a notch? I'm glad that they are excited. It would freak me out if what they were saying at the meeting was, "Holy shit, this is really hard, you guys." Like, signing players turns out that's a nightmare. I would be very concerned. So the fact that they're excited, that's great. And I wonder if this is another indication of a slight change in the way we're doing business, and somehow we're putting more money for payroll. Um, and yeah, I just hope if that's the case that a um, similar movement happens in all the departments, and
Yeah,
um, the whole balloon enlarges just a little bit. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think there's plenty of reason to be optimistic at this point. We haven't had any terrible outcomes. We haven't signed any player. We haven't signed Marcello Polisi yet. So he's going to be like the name that just means like a guy that you're like, I don't, this is how, what the fuck? Um, so
I know we're just about wrapping up, Sean, but I just have to ask you because I know you've covered this team for a long, long time.
I
Um, is Polisi the worst signing that this team has ever made?
mean, oh man, that's a tough one. Yes. Um, I think I think there are players who came in and gave a similar amount to the and I'm blanking on his name. He's coaching the Cosmos now. Um,
Oh, no, he's not coaching I think I know what
no,
you're
the
talking about.
Cosmos.
Vincenzo Candela?
Candela, right?
Yeah, he's
Like,
coaching Omaha now.
so he came in and gave a similar amount, I would say, on the pitch that to what Marcello has given us this year. But the difference is that was he was explicitly coming in to like begin his coaching career.
Yeah,
We
and I
know
don't
now.
remember Trevor like playing him like a whole hell of a lot. Like he
Didn't play
he
him much,
started him
but
in yeah, he
in
started
cup
him in that
games.
Open Cup game, yeah,
Right.
against Gold Star, and then like that was it. Like
Right.
Polisi got significant minutes, it seemed like that first half of last season.
Yeah, and like it never looked good.
No,
Just
no.
it looked bad in just precisely the way that we were afraid he would look bad. Because he's
Yeah.
like, you watch the CPL footage and he's like snapping into tackles, and it's like, okay, but if you're a half step late, that's just constant fouling. And that
Hmm.
was that was what it was here. Like just it was the game moved too quickly for him, and he looked underwater, and like I just don't get it because like that is like one of those things that to me you almost sort without even looking at as a judge of talent. Like when you put players together like what will tend to happen is the better players will sort of coalesce and will force, like when it's a tryout situation, they'll force the play as quick as it can go, and you watch players kind of struggle to think on that level. And the difference is that only maybe 20% of what they're trying is coming off because it's just coming at them so fast. um and there's a particular way, a kind of mulish way they look in that scenario that like right away when I saw Marcello playing in the championship, I was like, oh man, like that's like he is out of his depth entirely, and like it can't be fun. Like
No,
you
yeah.
can't feel good. Like you're going out there, you're just like, trying not to make a gas face for 25 minutes. Like, oh my God, how quickly can this be over? Like really like in your heart of hearts praying that the ball doesn't come to you and that all you're running is just empty running. Um, because like I cannot think of a situation. I can't think of like 5 seconds of match time where Marcello in this season where Marcello did something and you were like, that was credible. That was the way a professional would do that. Like, no, like everything was messy and crazy and like like stabby and panicky and weird. And it's just, Like you would be too if you got thrown in there, but like you're not getting paid by Detroit City to do this. Like who decided that? Like, and are they still there? It's my question. Are they making
Yeah.
decisions for next year? Because Jay
I
Chapman was not a sufficient band-aid. Like they're like they really thought that Jay Chapman and Maxey that was pretty even. Like, bro.
Hey, we'll always remember Polisi for that banger of an own goal, though. I mean,
Oh,
that's
I mean, yeah, all timer.
yeah, all timer. I mean,
We should put it in
it,
the we should put it in the highlight clips and just like just cut it so short that you can't tell it's an own goal. It looks like just like this punishing header, like shit. Look at that.
can,
And like oh,
can
we'll just be laughing at it. That's Policey, man. That's the own goal.
can I see the 5 seconds after? No, that's all we have from
No,
it.
no, no,
That's
no.
that's
That's the only remnant from that match.
Oh man. Anything else tonight, Sean, that we have?
No, I think I'm solid.
All right. Well, that'll do it this week for this edition of Make City Make Spence. And see, I'm getting ready to go into announcing like all the, the Twitter handles and the websites and all that, but I forgot Garrett already has that taken care of at the end of the episode. So, um, yeah, that'll do it for this week. Guessing we probably won't be on next week. But yeah, maybe look for us the following week though, um, since the indoor team doesn't play till what, the 27th.
Yeah, they
So
don't play till a couple days after Christmas.
yep. So, well, in that sense, I hope everybody has a great holiday, though, since we probably won't be on till after that. Again, unless there's some major breaking news
Yeah.
that comes out beforehand.
Yeah,
So
Leo Messi to retire with Detroit City as you know the new owner and coach and star player and
yeah,
sporting director of Detroit City Football Club.
that would be an instant. I would probably have to
Well,
stop work for that day, and
I think we would have to stop work for the rest of our lives and do nothing but cover that because there would be money in covering that, and we would be the only credible people left. And like us in 451 suddenly like elevated on the world stage. Yeah,
we'd be
Jaime
getting
it's like, oh my God, he can speak Spanish.
who's that?
Like,
Who's that athletic writer? Is it Tom like Bogart or something like
yeah,
that?
Tom Bogert. Yeah,
Yeah, we'd be getting DMs and emails from him
yeah.
wanting comment on Leo Messi
It's
heading
like, man, I
to
don't know anything.
That's what it was like though with the NGS though when City was making the jump to USL. All of a sudden we had like these national level soccer
Yeah,
reporters like
yeah.
DMing NGS wanting comment.
This is where I know how that I am my public outreach is incredibly successful because no one ever asks me anything. So it's like, all right, uh, you know, I'm I'm here for the cognoscenti. Uh,
So yeah, if yeah, I guess if Leo Messi makes it, yeah, stay tuned for that episode.
that's why
But
they haven't announced any of that shit because it's
that's
all
right.
Leo. Exactly.
Yep. We had to wait for the MLS season to be over with.
Yeah.
Um, but anyways, though, have a great holiday, everybody. We'll see you next time though.
Hey everyone, thanks for checking out this episode of Make City Make Spence. To see not only this one, but prior Make City Make Spence episodes, go to detroit.themajorsports.com where you can check out all of our catalog and all things going on with not only Detroit City FC centric content, but any Majors Detroit content in general. Additionally, you can find us on YouTube at The Majors TV. Be sure to hit like and subscribe if you already haven't yet. And you can also find us on wherever you check social media stuff out. We're on Twitter and Instagram at TMSNX Detroit, Blue Sky at TMSNXDetroit.bsky.social, and The Majors Detroit on Facebook. Additionally, wherever you check out your podcast, be sure to not only like and subscribe, but leave a 5-star review. It goes a long way in helping out all of our efforts here at The Majors Detroit. Thanks again. Catch you next time.